Welcome to the Sleepy Brain Facts channel. Tonight, you find yourself drawn into one of the most intriguing and enchanting mysteries, the mystery of perception. This quiet force shapes your world, often before you even realize it. It gently colors every sound, every sight, and every fleeting sensation. Perception exists in the delicate space between the external world and your mind, crafting everything you have ever known. It transforms vibrations into music, patterns into stories, and even the lightest touch of air into a profound feeling. It feels both familiar and utterly alien, like a hidden artist painting the reality you call your own. If you enjoy these tranquil explorations, consider liking, subscribing, or sharing your thoughts below. Your engagement helps others discover this peaceful journey, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is relax. Allow your breathing to slow, your body to soften, and your mind to settle into stillness. Let's begin. Your mind quietly edits reality long before you become aware of it. Before you notice anything, vast amounts of incoming sensations are quietly discarded, softened, or highlighted. Signals from your eyes, ears, skin, and even deeper within your body all compete for attention, yet most of them never reach your awareness at all. Your brain plays a fascinating role in how you perceive the world around you. It sifts through information, discarding what feels predictable or insignificant, while amplifying what seems new, emotional, or relevant to your needs. A familiar room transforms into a simple backdrop, rather than a chaotic mix of shapes and colors. The sounds in the background merge into a gentle hush, rather than a cacophony of individual noises. Even your heartbeat and breath fade into the background, unless something draws them back into your awareness. What you experience as immediate presence is actually a carefully curated version of reality, shaped by priorities that operate beneath your conscious awareness. You seldom encounter the raw, unfiltered experience. Instead, you interact with the polished version your nervous system has crafted. The world you think you see is largely a prediction generated by your brain. To maintain a sense of flow and continuity, your mind constantly anticipates what will happen next, filling in gaps before the information fully arrives. As you read, you can predict the next word from just a few letters. When someone speaks, you often find yourself anticipating their concluding thoughts before they finish. Visual scenes unfold in a similar manner. Once your brain identifies a space with a wall, a table, and a lamp, it no longer constructs each detail from the ground up. This intricate process reveals how your perception is more about anticipation and interpretation than mere observation. You are constantly engaged in a dance between what is real and what your mind predicts, shaping your understanding of the world around you. Your perception of the world is fascinatingly complex. Instead of capturing every detail, your brain updates a running model, making tiny adjustments that enable rapid responses while conserving energy. This means you primarily experience your own expectations. Illusions that play with misleading cues highlight how strongly your mind clings to its predictions, often ignoring what the raw images could reveal. As you glance around a room, you might think you are absorbing every detail. In reality, your vision acts more like a series of snapshots, focused on key points. The sharpest part of your sight covers only a small area at the center, while the rest is a blur of shapes and movement. The nerve fibers that transmit signals from your eyes are limited, causing your retina to compress and summarize information before it reaches your brain. It prioritizes lines, edges, and changes over time, reducing uniform areas to simple estimates. Despite this, the world seems richly detailed, wherever your gaze lands. This sense of fullness arises from your brain's remarkable ability to stitch together quick glimpses into a cohesive whole, filling in the gaps with memory and expectation. You may feel as though you see everything clearly at once, even though only a small portion of the scene is captured in sharp focus. Your vision contains a hidden element of creation. At the back of each eye, where the optic nerve exits, there exists a small area devoid of light-sensitive cells. When an image lands on this spot, it leaves no trace. You might expect this to appear as a dark void in your sight, yet you notice nothing amiss. Your mind seamlessly fills in this gap, extending nearby colors, textures, and patterns, as if an invisible artist has completed the scene. Simple experiments show that a small object can disappear when it moves through this specific area, revealing something curious at play. However, in your daily life, this process feels entirely natural. This silent act of repair demonstrates how eager your brain is to create when necessary. The reality you experience isn't merely received, it's actively reconstructed to mask its own flaws. You are always living just a bit in the past. This is because perception requires time. Every sound you hear, every light you perceive, and every sensation you feel has already traveled through your nerves, processed by intricate networks, and woven together into a cohesive moment. Each of these steps takes precious fractions of a second. Your brain doesn't just present events as isolated moments. Instead, it takes a moment to gather information, creating a cohesive snapshot of your experience. Signals from your eyes and ears, which travel at different speeds, are adjusted to feel synchronized. This clever timing ensures that moving objects don't appear to jump, enhancing your perception of reality. What you perceive as the present is actually a brief summary of what just occurred. By the time you become aware of your surroundings, the universe has already shifted slightly. This delay is so expertly managed that you feel completely in the moment. The sense of self you experience may be likened to a guided illusion. Deep within your mind, countless signals about your body, memories, aspirations, and social interactions come together to form a singular identity that feels distinctly like you. This identity appears continuous and solid, yet it can subtly change from one moment to the next. Variations in your mood, posture, or context can influence how large or small you feel in a space, how confident or uncertain you perceive yourself to be, and even how connected you feel to your own body. Certain situations reveal the fragility of this construction. When your senses are disrupted or conflicting information arises, you might feel as though you floated outside your body, or that your hands belong to someone else. This delicate balance of perception and identity invites you to reflect on the nature of your own experience. Consider how these elements shape your understanding of who you are in the world. You find yourself immersed in a narrative that asserts your existence. You are here, you are this person, and you are the one who perceives. This sense of self feels like a straightforward truth, yet it may be just another story your mind creates to make sense of the world around you. You actually perceive with your brain, not merely with your eyes. Your eyes serve as intricate lenses and sensors, collecting ever-changing patterns of light. However, these patterns hold no meaning until the regions at the back of your head interpret them. Here, waves of electrical activity transform edges into shapes, shapes into objects, and objects into meaningful scenes. If any part of this intricate system falters, you might have perfectly healthy eyes, but struggle to recognize faces or perceive motion as a series of still images. On the other hand, when these brain areas are stimulated directly, people often report seeing flashes of color or simple forms, even in complete darkness. Some visual prostheses aim to bypass damaged tissue by sending simplified patterns straight to the brain, creating points of light that can eventually be pieced together into useful images. All of this illustrates that the vibrant world of color, depth, and movement you experience is crafted within your mind, using light merely as the initial ingredient. Your experience of hearing is shaped by the predictions your brain makes. In a noisy room, when someone speaks, the sounds reaching your ears can be chaotic, filled with echoes and overlapping voices. Yet, you effortlessly identify familiar words and tones. Your nervous system doesn't merely record vibrations, it actively seeks out patterns that match known language and voices you recognize. When parts of a sentence are obscured by a brief noise, you often perceive the entire phrase as if the missing words were there all along. Your mind fills in those gaps, seamlessly integrating expected sounds into the flow of speech. This phenomenon also appears in music. Once you've learned a melody, your inner sense of it continues, even when the external sound fades, allowing you to feel each note landing perfectly. What seems like simple hearing is actually a collaboration between the sounds around you and your brain's internal model of how the world should sound. Similarly, touch becomes a narrative your mind constructs from various signals. Beneath your skin, numerous receptors respond to pressure, stretch, vibration, temperature, and chemical changes. Each type sends its own stream of information along distinct pathways. You notice how impulses arrive at varying times and intensities, yet they weave together into a single sensation. It might be a gentle stroke, a sharp prick, or the weight of a resting hand. Context plays a crucial role here, and a light touch can feel comforting when it comes from someone you trust, but it can be startling when unexpected. The same pressure feels different depending on whether you are braced for it or relaxed. Even the shape of an object in your hand is not perceived as a whole. Instead, tiny details from individual points on your skin come together to form a coherent image, much like assembling a sculpture from scattered pieces. What you perceive as a simple touch is in fact a rich narrative unfolding moment by moment, crafted from countless small voices within your body. Your sense of balance, too, is a subtle orchestration of motion, fluidity, and prediction. Deep within your ears lie tiny canals filled with liquid, lined with delicate hair cells that respond when you move your head. Nearby, small crystals tug on sensors as gravity takes hold. Signals from these organs blend with information from your muscles and joints, which communicate how your limbs are positioned, alongside visual cues about the horizon and the space around you. You experience a constant ebb and flow, a rhythm of movement that shapes your perception. When the systems that guide you fall out of sync, like on a spinning ride or during a turbulent sea journey, you may feel disoriented or even nauseous. In environments where gravity is diminished or absent, such as in space, your brain must adapt, learning to navigate a new sense of orientation. While you often remain unaware of it, this invisible network diligently supports your balance, helping you stand tall and move gracefully through life. Consider the nature of color. It exists solely within your mind. Although it appears to be a quality of the world around you, the experience of color begins as mere light entering your eyes. The wavelengths themselves possess no color. They are simply energy in motion. Within your retina, specialized cells react to these light variations, transmitting complex patterns of signals to your brain. These signals intertwine with your memories, expectations, and context, crafting an experience that feels vibrant and real. A single hue can transform dramatically based on the surrounding light or nearby objects. Sometimes a patch of gray can seem bright blue, or a warm shade may suddenly feel cool. As you reflect on this interplay of perception and reality, you might find yourself curious about how your own experiences shape the world around you. Would you like to delve deeper into this fascinating topic, or perhaps take a moment to rest? These transformations highlight the intricate interpretation occurring behind the scenes. Color becomes a narrative crafted by your nervous system, adapting moment by moment to help you perceive contrast, form, and meaning. Without your mind shaping these signals, there would be no vibrant reds, soothing greens, or the gentle glow of gold at sunset, only silent variations of energy waiting to be transformed into something beautiful. Time is not a rigid measurement. It can stretch or shrink based on your attention. The passage of moments is not marked by a clock ticking at a constant rate. Instead, it is sculpted by varying levels of attention, emotion, and surprise. When you immerse yourself in something truly engaging, minutes may slip by almost unnoticed. Conversely, when you anticipate an event, each second can feel unusually prolonged. Novel experiences often seem more expansive because your mind is busy gathering details, creating richer memories that make the interval feel longer when you reflect on it later. In moments of fear, you might notice everything unfolding in slow motion. This perception occurs because your brain processes information at an accelerated rate, making those experiences feel densely packed with intensity. As you consider these insights, how does your own experience of time and color shape your understanding of the world around you? Repetitive tasks can condense hours into what feels like mere moments. In your mind, time is a fluid landscape. Your awareness flows across it, shaping each experience based on how deeply you engage and how strongly emotions influence the moment. The motion you perceive is partly a creation of your mind, ensuring that the world feels stable. Whenever an object moves across your line of sight, your eyes make rapid adjustments to track its position. These movements happen quickly and frequently, yet they don't appear as abrupt jumps. Instead, your brain smooths the sequence into a seamless flow. Even the motion caused by your own eye movements while scanning a scene fades from your awareness, making the world seem still. When visual information doesn't arrive in perfect order, your mind fills in the gaps with predictions, creating the illusion that objects move with constant speed. Some visual displays cleverly exploit this tendency, presenting static images in carefully timed patterns to create the experience of animation. The smoothness you perceive is not a true reflection of the raw input. It is a carefully constructed narrative designed to help you navigate your surroundings without confusion. As you reflect on this, consider how your perception shapes your experience of time and motion. You might find it fascinating to explore these concepts further. You often find that you don't witness motion as it happens. Instead, your mind constructs how it should unfold. Each time you revisit a memory, it transforms. While memories might seem like fixed snapshots of the past, they are dynamic entities that evolve each time you engage with them. When you recall an event, that memory becomes temporarily flexible. It intertwines with your current thoughts, feelings, and interpretations before settling back into your mind in a slightly different form. Over the years, small changes accumulate, subtly altering the narrative you hold about past experiences. You might find yourself confidently recalling details that never actually took place, or misremembering the timing of events without even realizing it. Emotions play a significant role in this process, highlighting certain aspects of a memory while allowing others to fade. A joyful moment may feel even more radiant over time, while a stressful experience might gain a clarity that wasn't there initially. This ongoing revision allows your mind to keep memories relevant, but it also means that remembering is not merely about retrieving information. It is an act of reconstruction, influenced as much by your current understanding as by what transpired in the past. Your brain selects what is significant long before you consciously make that choice. As you navigate the world, a multitude of sights, sounds, and sensations continuously reach your senses. Before anything becomes meaningful to you, deeper areas of your brain swiftly sort through information, amplifying what seems important while dulling what appears irrelevant. This process occurs automatically and much faster than your conscious thought can keep up with. A sudden movement in your peripheral vision can capture your attention even before you fully comprehend what it is. A familiar voice can rise above the background noise, while other sounds fade away. This filtering mechanism allows you to respond quickly and prevents your mind from being overwhelmed by the vast amount of incoming information. When you later feel as though you have consciously chosen to notice something, much of that decision has already been made behind the scenes by networks shaped by your experiences, emotions, and instincts. Awareness is the final step in a long series of silent choices that guide your attention effortlessly. Your attention captures only a tiny fraction of the world at any given moment. Although you may feel surrounded by a rich environment, the amount you can consciously absorb is surprisingly small. Think of your focus as a narrow beam of light, illuminating one area while leaving everything else in gentle shadow. When this beam is directed at a specific object or idea, other information simply fades from your awareness, even if it remains within your line of sight. You find yourself deeply engaged in a task, unaware of the significant changes occurring around you. This intriguing phenomenon is highlighted in experiments where unexpected events unfold right in front of you, yet you remain oblivious. This selective focus is not a flaw, it's a strategy your mind employs to allocate resources effectively. Your attention determines what gets processed in detail and what is handled by quick, automatic responses. Everything outside this narrow spotlight continues to exist, but only a small fraction makes its way into your conscious experience. Your senses often vie for dominance, each striving to interpret the situation at hand. When sight, sound, and touch present conflicting messages, your brain must decide which sense to trust. Vision frequently takes precedence, as it provides rich details about shapes and movements. However, there are times when sound prevails over what your eyes perceive, or when the sensation of touch corrects misleading visual information. This sensory competition ensures a stable experience of the world around you, as relying equally on all senses could lead to confusion during moments of disagreement. Occasionally, your senses even blend their inputs, creating entirely new experiences, like hearing a sound differently after observing someone's lips move in a specific way. As you reflect on these dynamics, consider how they shape your understanding of the world. Would you like to explore this further, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Sometimes one sense takes the lead, guiding how you interpret an event. This fluid hierarchy shows that perception is far from straightforward. It involves a negotiation where each sense provides evidence that shapes your understanding of reality. Among all your senses, smell holds a unique emotional power. A delicate scent can awaken memories that have long been tucked away. This remarkable ability stems from the fact that the pathways for smell connect directly to parts of your brain linked to emotion and memory, bypassing many layers of processing. Consequently, Smells can trigger vivid images and feelings with astonishing speed and intensity. Consider the aroma of wet soil after rain. It might remind you of carefree childhood afternoons, or a hint of perfume could evoke the presence of someone you haven't seen in ages. Unlike sight or sound, which focus on intricate details, smell captures the chemical essence of your surroundings and connects it to your inner experiences. Animals depend heavily on this sense to navigate their social environments, and you too possess a profound sensitivity to it, often without realizing its impact. Just a single breath can shift your mood, heighten your awareness, or transport you back to a moment long forgotten. As you reflect on this, allow yourself to explore the connections between smell and memory. What memories does a scent bring to mind for you? Your eyes are never truly still, even when you believe they are. In every moment of wakefulness, tiny shifts in your gaze occur continuously. These movements are so small and rapid that you seldom notice them, yet they play a crucial role in preventing the world from fading away. If your eyes were to remain fixed on a single scene, the image would gradually disappear as the receptors in your retina adapt to the unchanging pattern. Those subtle flicks and tremors refresh your visual field, ensuring that edges, textures, and contrasts stay vibrant. Even while reading, your gaze jumps in brief bursts across the words, pausing just long enough to gather essential information before leaping to the next. This dynamic movement allows your brain to compare different parts of a scene, helping you build a cohesive understanding of shape and depth. What feels like a steady stare is in fact a complex dance of constant corrections that makes stable vision possible. You depend on far more senses than the familiar five. Beyond sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, your body employs a wide array of specialized systems to interpret the world around you. You can sense the position of your limbs, even in complete darkness, through intricate networks that track tension in your muscles and movement in your joints. Take a moment to appreciate this remarkable complexity. As you continue to engage with your surroundings, remember how your senses work together to create a rich tapestry of experience. Feel free to pause and reflect on this fascinating interplay whenever you wish. You navigate the intricate pull of gravity and the rhythm of rotation through the delicate structures of your inner ear. You sense temperature, pain, and internal states like hunger, heartbeat, and breath. These additional senses provide a steady stream of information that supports everything from walking to emotional awareness. Without them, the world would feel sparse and disorienting, and scientists are continually uncovering even more subtle forms of perception, such as the ability to notice changes in atmospheric pressure or to detect faint magnetic influences. The boundaries of your sensory world are far richer and more intricate than the traditional list suggests. When you dream, you enter a realm crafted entirely from within. As you drift into sleep, your mind shifts into a state where it no longer receives the usual flow of sensory information. Yet, it continues to create a vivid universe filled with landscapes, voices, movement, and emotion. None of these elements come from the outside. Instead, they emerge from fragments of memory, instinctive patterns, and spontaneous bursts of neural activity, all arranged by your brain into scenes that feel real. A single impression can blossom into an entire storyline, while subtle emotional undertones shape the tone of everything that unfolds. Embrace this rich tapestry of perception and imagination, allowing yourself to explore the depths of your inner world. Familiar faces appear in unexpected places, and extraordinary events feel entirely natural. In dreams, your mind constructs a vivid world, unbound by the constraints of reality. These experiences reveal that perception doesn't depend solely on light, sound, or touch. Instead, it relies on your ability to weave meaning from internal signals, crafting a temporary reality that can feel as rich and convincing as your waking life. Sound plays a crucial role in shaping what you believe you see. Your visual system collaborates closely with your auditory system, constantly exchanging information to create a coherent experience. When a sound coincides perfectly with a visual change, it can alter your perception of the image, even if nothing has physically changed. A brief burst of noise might transform a single flash into two, while a sudden tone can make a subtle movement seem much larger. Films and animations exploit this partnership, using precisely timed audio to enhance the drama and realism of simple visual actions. In your daily life, sound aids in judging distance, direction, texture, and timing. When these sensory cues misalign, your brain attempts to resolve the conflict, often prioritizing whichever sense appears more informative at that moment. As you reflect on these interactions, consider how they shape your understanding of the world around you. You might find it fascinating how deeply intertwined your senses are, creating a rich tapestry of experience. Take a moment to explore these thoughts further, or simply allow yourself to rest in the wonder of perception. You find yourself immersed in a seamless experience, one where perception is surprisingly malleable. A simple sound has the power to reshape your beliefs without you even realizing it. Your sight can completely alter what you think you're hearing. Hearing goes beyond just sound waves reaching your ears. It is intricately intertwined with what you see. As you watch someone speak, your brain melds the movement of their lips with the sound of their voice, creating a unified experience. If the visual cues don't align with the auditory signals, your mind may adjust how you perceive the sound to resolve the discrepancy. This phenomenon can make identical sounds appear distinct, simply based on the speaker's movements. In bustling environments, focusing on someone's mouth can enhance your understanding of their speech, even when their voice is nearly drowned out. The richness of music performances stems in part from witnessing the source of each note. This close connection illustrates how much your hearing relies on context. Your mind strives to forge a cohesive interpretation rather than treating auditory and visual inputs as separate entities. When these inputs clash, your vision often takes the lead in guiding your perception. Surprisingly, your sense of your own body can also be reshaped with remarkable ease. Your body feels stable and familiar, yet the way you perceive it is shaped by various sources of information. Signals from your muscles, skin, joints, and internal organs continuously form a map of your position and state. However, this map can change dramatically when your brain receives conflicting cues. For instance, if you see a hand move in perfect synchrony with your own, you might begin to feel as though that hand is part of you, even when you know it isn't. Sometimes you may not notice gradual changes in your posture until you catch a glimpse of yourself in a mirror. Even items like clothing and tools can seamlessly integrate into your sense of space, transforming into natural extensions of your body. This adaptability allows you to navigate the world with ease, but it also reveals that your bodily awareness is more flexible and constructed than it seems. You might even experience sensations in limbs that are no longer there. After losing a limb, many people continue to feel warmth, pressure, movement, or even pain in the area where it once was. These sensations occur because your brain still holds a map that includes the missing limb. The parts of your brain that once processed signals from that limb remain active, and they can be triggered by nearby regions, internal rhythms, or your emotional state. As you reflect on this, consider how your own body awareness shapes your experience of the world. It's a fascinating interplay between perception and reality, inviting you to explore your own sense of self. When you touch the skin near a missing limb, you might experience sensations that seem to come from that absent part of your body. Over time, your brain can reorganize its internal map, yet the old patterns linger. These sensations reveal that perception isn't strictly linked to physical structure. Rather, it's connected to the patterns your brain expects and the pathways it has learned to navigate. The feeling of a limb persists because the neural narrative associated with it continues to unfold. Your brain has the remarkable ability to create vivid sensory experiences without any external input. In complete darkness, you may perceive shapes or flickers of color. In profound silence, you might hear faint tones or whispers drifting through your consciousness. These experiences arise because the sensory regions of your brain remain active, even when outside signals are absent. They generate spontaneous patterns that mimic true perception. When imagination or memory engages these networks, the resulting sensations can feel strikingly similar to actual sight or sound. If you concentrate intently on an imagined object, you may even sense its texture, temperature, or weight. Sensory deprivation can amplify these effects, stripping away competing signals and allowing your mind to explore its own vivid landscapes. In the stillness of silence, your brain doesn't simply empty. Instead, it becomes a wellspring of creativity, filling the quiet with impressions crafted from within. This process reveals that much of what you perceive is generated by your own nervous system, rather than solely received from the outside world. You might notice that you often see faces where none exist. This is because your brain is finely tuned to recognize faces, a skill essential for communication and safety. This tuning is so profound that even random patterns can evoke the impression of eyes, a nose, and a mouth. Whether it's clouds, shadows, the texture of tree bark, or the arrangement of windows on a building, these elements can suddenly take on a human expression. This tendency emerges early in life and continues into adulthood. Your brain has dedicated regions specifically for facial recognition, and these areas remain active even when the pattern resembles a face only vaguely. While this can lead to false detections, it also enables you to recognize real faces in a crowded space almost effortlessly. This phenomenon illustrates your mind's eagerness to impose order on chaotic shapes. You are naturally inclined to find meaning in patterns, and faces are among the most compelling draws for your attention. Taste, too, is primarily a matter of smell, disguised as something else. When you savor food, the flavors you experience result from a combination of taste receptors on your tongue and scent molecules that travel through the back of your nasal passages. As you reflect on these insights, consider how your perception shapes your reality. Would you like to explore more about the wonders of your mind, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Your tongue identifies broad categories of taste: sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and savory. However, the intricate details of flavor primarily come from your sense of smell. When your nose is congested, many foods lose their unique character, appearing oddly flat. In contrast, when aromas are pronounced, even slight changes can completely alter the flavor experience. Your mind seamlessly blends these two sources of information, resulting in a harmonious tasting experience. This partnership is why warm foods often seem richer. Heat elevates scent molecules, enhancing the overall flavor. It also explains why memories of taste are closely linked to memories of smell. What might feel like a single sense is in reality a duet. Smell adds complexity, While taste provides the foundation, texture plays a crucial role in how you perceive flavor. The way food feels in your mouth can significantly shape your experience, as much as its chemical makeup. For example, a creamy texture can make a dish taste sweeter or richer, even without extra ingredients. A crisp or crunchy surface can amplify flavors, making them feel brighter or more intense. Smooth textures calm your palate, while rough or fibrous ones may draw out subtle notes. Additionally, temperature interacts with texture, affecting how quickly flavors spread and how intensely they register on your senses. Ice cream takes on a new character when it's slightly softened. The change in texture transforms how the flavors unfold, creating a different experience. Even the same food can taste distinct based on its preparation, as texture cues guide your expectations. Your mind interprets texture as a form of information, shaping the flavor before you even consciously analyze it. You perceive your body as a cohesive whole that belongs to you, but this sensation is an illusion crafted by numerous systems working in harmony. Visual cues confirm the positions of your limbs, while sensory signals inform you of pressure, temperature, and stretch. Internal signals keep track of your heartbeat, respiration, and posture. Your brain weaves these signals together, giving rise to a unified sense of ownership. However, when this binding falters, your sense of ownership can shift or even detach. Certain illusions can lead you to feel as if a rubber hand or a virtual body is truly yours. In rare instances, people might even feel as though they are observing themselves from a distance. These experiences highlight that body ownership is not a fixed state. It's a narrative maintained through continuous coordination. As long as the signals align, you feel at home in your body. Take a moment to reflect on this journey of perception. How does it feel to be in your own body? You might discover new layers to this familiar experience. When ownership slips away, it can lead to unexpected distractions. You might find yourself missing events happening right in front of you. Even when something is clearly visible, there's no guarantee that you will actually notice it. Your mind filters information so rapidly and confidently that surprising occurrences can easily go unnoticed if your focus is elsewhere. In various experiments, a surprising object can move through a scene, and many people fail to see it, even though it's large and brightly colored. This happens because your brain prioritizes what it deems important, suppressing anything that doesn't align with your current focus. When your attention is fixed on a specific task, the world around you can feel muted. Instead of details, your mind fills in the background with assumptions. This isn't a flaw, rather it's a strategy that helps you navigate an overwhelming environment. However, it highlights just how limited your moment-to-moment awareness truly is. You perceive far less than you think, often unaware of what you've missed. Attention can drift away quietly, and sometimes you only realize its absence once it returns. You find yourself in moments of quiet fading during long conversations, repetitive tasks, or even when observing something that once captured your interest. Instead of remaining fully present, your mind shifts into an automatic mode. Perception continues, yet conscious engagement fades away. The world doesn't vanish, it simply recedes into the background, while internal thoughts or subtle distractions take the lead. When your attention finally returns, you often experience a small moment of surprise, as if the scene has subtly shifted without your involvement. This gentle ebbing and flowing of focus illustrates the dynamic nature of attention. It is not a steady beam of clarity, but rather a wandering presence that can dim or brighten unexpectedly. Your awareness of the world relies less on your senses and more on the delicate movements of your attention. Familiar objects, constantly present, fade from your awareness. Anything that remains unchanged for too long can slip from your conscious perception. A ticking clock becomes silent, the weight of your clothing fades, and the faint hum of appliances blends into the background. Even stationary visual elements, like a painting on the wall or an ornament on a shelf, can completely cease to register once your brain determines they no longer provide new information. As you reflect on these experiences, consider how attention shapes your perception of reality. You might find it intriguing to notice how often your focus shifts, revealing the intricate dance between engagement and distraction. Your mind is naturally inclined to notice change rather than stability. When something no longer presents new details, your brain lowers its priority on that stimulus, directing your awareness to what might be more relevant. If a familiar object shifts or its color changes even slightly, it captures your attention once more, as if it has re-entered your world. This phenomenon illustrates how perception is a dynamic negotiation. What you focus on is always in flux, influenced by the balance between novelty and familiarity. Your mind only devotes attention to what seems most useful. Consider how your brain predicts the words you are about to hear or read. Long before a sentence concludes, your mind is already formulating likely endings. This predictive mechanism accelerates communication, enabling you to grasp language even when parts are unclear, interrupted, or spoken too quickly. While reading, your eyes leap ahead in small increments, and your brain uses partial views of upcoming words to form expectations. If the next word aligns with your prediction, understanding flows effortlessly. However, if it diverges, your mind quickly adjusts. This ongoing forecasting is why you might occasionally misread a familiar sentence or hear phrases differently than they were intended. Take a moment to reflect on this fascinating interplay of perception and prediction. You may find it enlightening to explore how your mind navigates the world around you. Would you like to continue this journey into understanding, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Your brain works tirelessly to make the best guess possible, even before all the information arrives. Language perception becomes a collaborative effort, blending incoming signals with your internal expectations. This fusion creates a smooth experience of meaning that unfolds more quickly than your conscious mind can comprehend. Your internal sense of direction relies on subtle cues that often go unnoticed. Even without a map, you instinctively know where you are and how to find your way back to familiar places. This remarkable ability stems from a network of hidden signals that guide your orientation: the angle of sunlight, the sensation of air currents, distant sounds, and even faint patterns of magnetic influence all play a role in shaping your internal compass. Moreover, your brain keeps track of every step you take, weaving together direction and distance into what is known as path integration. When these cues align, navigating feels effortless and reliable. However, when they clash, you may suddenly feel disoriented, as if the world has shifted around you, when in reality, it's your internal map that has lost its anchor. While some animals exhibit extraordinary versions of this navigational system, humans too possess a remarkably sensitive sense of orientation that typically operates beneath the surface of awareness. Take a moment to appreciate this intricate interplay within you, guiding you through the world. You navigate your world through instinctive perception rather than conscious reasoning. Your sense of time is shaped by expectation and surprise. When events unfold as you anticipate, moments can feel short and smooth, gliding past without much texture. However, when something unusual or surprising occurs, time seems to stretch. This happens because your mind dedicates more resources to processing those unexpected details. Anticipation can also elongate the experience of waiting, as your attention sharpens on every small moment leading up to what you desire. After a novel or emotionally intense experience, you often remember it as lasting longer than it actually did, filled with rich details. In contrast, routine days tend to vanish quickly in retrospect. These shifting perceptions reveal that your experience of time isn't measured solely by clocks. Instead, it is shaped by emotions, novelty, and predictions. Each element bends your sense of duration into something deeply personal and uniquely yours. You weave a continuous world from scattered sensory fragments, with each sense delivering its own stream of signals, each arriving with slight delays and in different forms. Your brain has an incredible ability to merge diverse inputs into a single coherent experience. A visual flash, a sound, or a touch might occur at different moments, yet you perceive them as one unified event. This happens because your brain aligns these sensations into a seamless moment. It fills in gaps, smooths out inconsistencies, and blends stray signals into a narrative that feels complete. Without this synthesis, the world would seem disjointed and confusing, filled with mismatches instead of a smooth flow. Think of your mind as an editor piecing together a film from scattered clips. It selects the best arrangement to create a stable narrative. What you experience as direct perception is actually a carefully constructed tapestry, woven from many independent threads, each stitched together so skillfully that you hardly notice the seams. Interestingly, imagined experiences can often feel just as real as actual ones. When your imagination engages the same neural circuits used for perception, the resulting sensations can be strikingly lifelike. A vividly imagined sound might resonate with remarkable clarity. A scent recalled from memory may seem to waft through the air. A mental image of a place from your past can appear with a vividness that rivals actual sight. This phenomenon occurs because your brain sometimes struggles to distinguish between internally generated activity and genuine sensory input. As you reflect on this, consider how your perceptions shape your reality. Each moment is crafted by your mind, creating a rich tapestry of experiences. When the internal patterns of your mind are strong enough, they can be perceived as real. This blending often occurs when you're tired, intensely focused, or emotionally charged. It also plays a role in dreams, daydreams, and certain memories, where imagined and recalled details intertwine. These experiences reveal that perception isn't solely dependent on the external world. Rather, it is influenced by your brain's remarkable ability to generate sensations from within. Sometimes, these sensations are so convincing that they feel indistinguishable from reality. Consider how you hear your own voice. When you speak, the sound reaches your ears through two distinct pathways. One pathway is the air surrounding you, carrying vibrations like any other sound. The other pathway involves the vibrations resonating through your bones inside your head. This internal vibration enhances deeper tones that others may not perceive. Consequently, your voice feels richer and more familiar to you than the version you hear in recordings. When people first listen to their recorded voice, they often feel surprised or even uncomfortable. This reaction occurs because the internal component is absent. Your brain becomes accustomed to the unique blend of sound it hears while you speak, making the external-only version seem unfamiliar. Take a moment to reflect on this phenomenon. How does it feel to recognize that your perception of reality is shaped by both your inner experiences and the sounds around you? Your perception of your voice reveals a unique experience that no one else shares. The combination of vibrations you hear is unlike anything anyone else experiences. Inside, your sense of your body differs from the way others see you. You carry a personal map within your mind, guiding your movement, posture, and interactions with the world around you. This map is shaped by sensation rather than appearance, often diverging from what a mirror reflects. Your internal body can feel larger or smaller, influenced by emotions, tension, or fatigue. Certain areas may seem closer or farther away than their actual position. Some people have a vivid awareness of parts of their body that are barely visible, while other regions feel distant unless touched or moved. This internal perception plays a significant role in how you walk, gesture, and position yourself. It also affects how you interpret the actions of others, as you compare what you see with your own bodily sensations. The differences between your inner and outer body don't indicate confusion. Rather, they highlight that perception is guided more by what your body senses than by what your eyes observe. Remember, vision does not treat every area of your visual field equally. As you explore this fascinating aspect of perception, consider how it shapes your everyday interactions. As you look around, the world seems to be uniformly detailed, but in reality, only a small central area offers sharp resolution. This densely packed region, filled with specialized cells, is what enables you to detect fine details and vibrant colors with clarity. Beyond this focused zone, everything becomes less precise, revealing only broad shapes, movement, and general brightness. Your brain cleverly compensates for this limited detail by stitching together numerous tiny eye movements, creating the illusion of a complete and crisp panorama. Each time your eyes sweep across a scene, they gather fragments of information, which your mind seamlessly blends into a cohesive whole. You might not even notice this uneven distribution because your brain fills in the gaps using memory and prediction. This integration gives you the impression that your entire field of view is equally sharp, even though much of it is built from rough impressions rather than precise visual input. Consider how tiny contextual details influence your perception of size. The way an object appears can change dramatically depending on its surroundings. An object may seem much larger when placed among smaller neighbors, yet it can shrink in comparison to something imposing nearby. This interplay of shapes, patterns, and distances shapes your understanding of the world around you. As you reflect on this, allow yourself to appreciate the intricate ways your mind interprets reality. Would you like to explore more about how perception works, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Even the simplest line drawings can reshape your perception of scale when angles and context suggest depth or perspective. Your brain relies on relational cues to gauge size, as absolute measurements are often absent in raw vision. Light, shadow, and texture provide subtle hints that greatly influence how you interpret your surroundings. In everyday life, a room may feel more spacious with fewer objects, or when the walls feature specific patterns. Likewise, familiar items can seem oddly large or small when viewed outside their usual context. Your perception continuously adjusts scale, striving to maintain a coherent understanding of the world, even if it means altering the apparent size of objects based on their environment. Light and shadow play a crucial role in shaping your sense of depth and form. A flat surface can take on a three-dimensional quality when shadows fall across it just right. Even slight changes in illumination can transform how you perceive edges, curves, and distances. Light defines the world by accentuating contours and guiding your understanding of structure. Without shadow, objects lose their depth, appearing almost weightless. When light comes from unexpected angles, shapes can appear distorted or reversed, as if their contours have flipped. Take a moment to consider how light and shadow influence your everyday experiences. You might find that this awareness enhances your perception, inviting you to explore the world around you with fresh eyes. Artists harness various effects to craft convincing illusions of volume on a flat canvas. In nature, the ever-changing light transforms landscapes hour by hour, unveiling new layers of texture and depth. Your perception of form is intricately tied to the interplay of light and shadow. What you observe is a collaboration between physical surfaces and the illumination that shapes them into meaning. As you shift your gaze, large segments of the visual scene rush across your retina. This movement could create jarring shifts, yet you seldom notice them. Your brain temporarily dampens visual sensitivity during these eye movements, shielding you from the blur and chaos that might otherwise ensue. It seamlessly blends the images seen before and after into a continuous experience. This smoothing effect is so potent that even brief interruptions, like blinks that momentarily obscure your vision, often go unnoticed. The world feels stable, not because it is inherently so, but because your mind edits out the instability. This hidden editing maintains a sense of coherence, allowing you to experience an unbroken flow, even as raw visual input is continually disrupted. Reality, as you perceive it, resembles a carefully woven tapestry rather than just a series of images. You find yourself constantly predicting the future to make sense of the present moment. In a world that is always changing, your brain continuously forecasts what might happen next. These predictions shape your perception so effectively that you often sense the expected outcome even before all the information arrives. When someone throws a ball, your mind instinctively anticipates its path. As you turn your head, your brain predicts the shifting scene before the movement is complete. Even in conversation, the next word often feels familiar before it's uttered. This ability to anticipate allows for quick reactions and smooth interactions with your surroundings. However, it also means that your awareness is filtered through what your mind believes should be happening. While predictions enhance the speed of perception, they also suggest that your experiences are partly constructed from expectations rather than solely from raw sensory data. You navigate a world that is always a step ahead of itself. At times, your brain can even overshadow your senses when its predictions feel more certain. When your mind is confident in an expectation, it may disregard conflicting sensory signals. As you reflect on this, consider how your own predictions shape your understanding of the world around you. Illusions can be surprisingly convincing, even when you know they aren't real. Your mind tends to favor interpretations that align with its internal model, especially when sensory information is ambiguous or incomplete. For instance, if you expect a particular touch, you might feel it even before it actually happens. Similarly, if you believe a sound should continue, you might hear it faintly even after it has stopped. This predictive capability helps maintain a sense of stability in your world, but it can also lead to errors when assumptions take precedence over evidence. This dynamic reveals that perception is not merely a direct reflection of reality. Instead, it is a negotiation with your brain selecting the version of events that seems most likely. Even when your senses suggest a different narrative, the effort you anticipate exerting can influence how heavy an object feels. Before you lift something, your brain quickly assesses its weight based on size, appearance, and past experiences. This expectation directly affects your sensation the moment you pick it up. If you expect an object to be heavy, it may feel lighter than you anticipated, creating a brief moment of surprise. Conversely, if you think it will be light, it could feel heavier than it actually is. These mismatches illustrate how your perception of weight is shaped more by prediction than by raw strength alone. This intricate interplay of expectation and sensory input invites you to reflect on the fascinating ways your mind interacts with the world around you. Muscles and nerves send signals about resistance and load, but it's your brain that interprets this information through the lens of expectation. Objects with the same weight can feel strikingly different based on their context, shape, and your prior assumptions. The experience of weight is as much a creation of your mind as it is a physical sensation. The colors surrounding you also play a significant role in how warm or cold something feels. Your perception of temperature is closely linked to visual cues. Cool colors, like soft blues and gentle greens, can create a sense of chilliness, even if the actual temperature remains the same. On the other hand, warm colors such as deep reds or glowing golds can evoke a feeling of warmth, altering how you physically experience your environment. This influence extends beyond just visuals. A drink served in a cup with warm hues might seem hotter, while one in a cooler palette can feel more refreshing. Light too affects your perception. The color of illumination can make a space feel either chilly or cozy. These variations illustrate the intricate connections between your senses. Temperature isn't solely detected by your skin, it's also shaped by what your eyes perceive. Your brain weaves these signals into a unified interpretation, guiding your perception in surprising ways. Your mind possesses the remarkable ability to create movement, even in stillness. Under specific circumstances, your brain interprets static images as if they are in motion. Patterns that feature repeating shapes, subtle contrasts, or alternating colors can evoke a sense of motion despite nothing physically changing. This phenomenon occurs because your visual system is finely tuned to detect movement quickly, often relying on assumptions about how objects typically behave. When a pattern resembles something that could move, your brain activates its motion detectors, even in the absence of actual change. In dim light, faint afterimages may drift across your vision as neurons adjust their activity. Even the tiniest involuntary movements of your eyes can cause stationary objects to appear to shimmer or glide. These visual illusions highlight how strongly your mind prioritizes the detection of movement, sometimes even inventing it when signals are unclear. Motion, much like many facets of perception, is a narrative that your brain constructs. Pain, too, can stem purely from expectation. The experience of pain is influenced not just by physical injury, but also by your beliefs, memories, and anticipations. When you expect something to hurt, your brain may amplify even the slightest discomfort or conjure a sensation without any actual harmful stimulus. This interplay between perception and expectation reveals the intricate workings of your mind. Pain serves as a protective signal, urging you to exercise caution. When your brain senses potential danger, it heightens your sensitivity to pain. In some instances, you may experience pain simply from observing something you perceive as harmful, even if it poses no real threat. On the other hand, when you anticipate minimal discomfort, genuine pain can diminish. This adaptability illustrates that pain is not merely a straightforward indicator of physical damage. Rather, it is an interpretation influenced by context, emotion, and expectation. Your mind generates pain not to mislead you, but to safeguard you. However, this protective mechanism can sometimes activate alarms without justification. Consider sweetness, for instance. You can perceive sweetness even in the absence of sugar. Your experience of sweetness is not solely dictated by the chemical composition of what you consume. It's shaped by a blend of factors, including expectation, aroma, texture, temperature, and the memories associated with similar foods. When your mind anticipates sweetness, it can enhance the activity of your taste receptors, making even mild stimuli feel more intense than they truly are. Certain aromas naturally evoke sweet flavors, and as they waft through your senses, your brain integrates them with taste information, crafting the illusion of sugar where none exists. Smooth textures and warm temperatures can enhance your perception of flavor, mimicking the qualities of rich, sugary foods. Interestingly, some fruits taste sweeter when enjoyed warm, not due to any chemical changes, but because your mind interprets the warmth as a sign of ripeness. Even your vivid imagination can evoke a sense of sweetness when you recall a familiar treat. This illustrates that flavor is not merely a straightforward reflection of chemistry. It is a multi-sensory experience shaped by anticipation and context. Have you ever noticed how your mind can create sounds that never truly reached your ears? In moments of deep focus, solitude, or silence, you might perceive soft murmurs, faint tones, or imagined voices that seem to exist outside your head. These experiences occur because your auditory system remains active, even when the world around you is quiet. Neurons responsible for sound detection continue to fire in subtle patterns. When these patterns align in specific ways, your mind interprets them as external noise. Memory also plays a crucial role in shaping these auditory illusions. A song that once lingered in your thoughts may echo faintly, as if it were still playing. Emotional states can amplify this effect, particularly during moments of anticipation or stress, when your brain becomes more attuned to internal cues. As you reflect on these experiences, consider how they shape your understanding of perception and reality. Would you like to explore this further, or perhaps take a moment to rest? Even the wind, vibrations, or the rhythmic flow of blood in your ears can transform into phantom sounds when filtered through your expectations. The line between what you imagine and what you actually hear is more delicate than it appears. Identical colors are not always perceived in the same way. Two patches of color that perfectly match in physical terms can look different based on their surrounding environment. Shadows, lighting, contrast, and nearby colors all alter how your brain interprets hues. For instance, a gray square might seem blue when surrounded by warm tones, or it could appear yellow when placed among cooler shades. This adaptation helps your mind maintain a consistent perception amidst ever-changing lighting conditions. Outdoors, as sunlight shifts throughout the day, your visual system compensates by adjusting the perceived colors of familiar objects, ensuring they don't seem to change constantly. However, this powerful correction can lead to illusions where identical colors appear entirely different. Factors like texture, memory, and your emotional state can also influence color perception, causing the same shade to feel warmer or cooler based on your mood. Color is not a fixed property of the world. It is an interpretation shaped by countless subtle influences. In silence, you may even sense the passage of time. In the stillness, you can sense time moving forward, guided by your internal rhythms and subtle sensory cues. The steady beat of your heart, the rise and fall of your breath, and the gentle pulsing of your attention create an internal cadence that allows you to perceive duration without sound. When silence stretches, it can feel either rich and spacious or heavy and slow, influenced by your emotional state. In moments of anticipation, silence thickens, and each passing second seems to linger as your mind registers the absence of expected noise. Conversely, during meditation or deep relaxation, silence takes on an expansive quality, with moments blending softly into one another. Your mind keeps track of time, not through external markers, but through the patterns of your internal activity. Even in the absence of sound, you can feel the gentle unfolding of each moment. Your brain filters out most of the sensory world before you even notice it. Every second, your senses gather more information than you can consciously process. To prevent becoming overwhelmed, your brain sorts through this flood of data with astonishing speed, allowing only a small portion to enter your awareness. Most background sounds fade into a soft blur, while countless visual details remain beneath the surface of your consciousness. As you navigate this sensory landscape, take a moment to embrace the quiet. Allow yourself to feel the passage of time in your own unique way. Whether you choose to continue exploring or to rest in this stillness, the choice is yours. You notice the temperature of your clothing, the firmness of your seat, and the faint vibrations around you. These sensations quietly fade into the background unless something unusual catches your attention. This natural filtering process allows you to concentrate on what feels significant while letting routine sensations drift away. Without this ability to prioritize, the world might feel overwhelming and chaotic. Instead, your perception becomes a carefully curated experience, shaped by your brain's assessment of what is useful or meaningful at any given moment. You can sense the presence of another person even without seeing or hearing them. It's a subtle awareness, one that arises from cues your senses pick up without you consciously realizing it. Changes in air pressure, slight vibrations in the floor, gentle movements in the air, or shifts in temperature against your skin can all signal that someone else is near. Your brain is finely attuned to these environmental hints, particularly in social contexts where awareness is crucial. Your nervous system tracks these changes instinctively, often before you consciously recognize that someone is nearby. Emotional sensitivity plays a significant role here as well. Humans have evolved to detect proximity for safety and coordination, and that instinct remains active even in our modern lives. This quiet awareness you experience feels almost magical. It emerges from a finely tuned perception that operates behind the scenes. Sometimes, echoes can be mistaken for entirely new sounds. When a sound bounces off surfaces, the returning vibrations may arrive with enough delay or distortion for your brain to interpret them as separate events. You might notice this particularly in large halls, deep canyons, or vast open spaces, where echoes unfold into distinct layers. Your mind works diligently to discern whether a noise is original or simply a reflection. Yet, when the timing or clarity becomes unclear, it might categorize the echo as a new source altogether. These subtle echoes also influence your sense of space. Your brain uses their timing to estimate distance and size, even if you're not consciously aware of these reflections. As echoes grow more complex, your mind weaves them into patterns that can feel musical, mysterious, or even confusing. These interpretations highlight how much your perception relies on organizing sound into a meaningful structure. Even when the source is merely a reflection of your surroundings, you can sense emotions just from the quality of a voice. A voice conveys far more information than the words it articulates. The rhythm, tone, breath, and delicate shifts in pitch can reveal emotional states almost instantly. So, take a moment to listen closely. What do you hear beneath the surface? You may not see a face, but you can still feel the tension, warmth, excitement, or unease in someone's voice. This sensitivity stems from the fact that vocal expression is intertwined with the entire body. When stress arises, muscles tighten. In moments of calm, breath deepens, and feelings of joy or anger shift the energy. These physical changes transform the sound in ways your brain recognizes instantly. Throughout evolution, humans have honed the ability to detect emotions through voice, a skill that remains vital today. Remarkably, you can often sense feelings in a language you don't speak, even if the words are unfamiliar. The voice acts as a window into another person's inner world, filled with subtle nuances. Faces, too, capture your attention almost immediately. Your brain dedicates special regions to process faces, allowing for rapid recognition. In a crowded space, a face stands out more quickly than any other shape. This swift recognition enables you to pick up on identity, emotion, and intention in mere fractions of a second. Faces are intricate, yet your mind interprets them with extraordinary efficiency. It detects tiny movements around the eyes, the tilt of the mouth, and shifts in expression that convey mood. As you reflect on these connections, consider how deeply intertwined our voices and faces are in understanding one another. Would you like to explore this further, or take a moment to rest? You develop certain abilities early in life, and these skills become some of your most practiced forms of perception. The face is a powerful communicator, conveying a wealth of social information. Your brain prioritizes this input, processing facial cues more swiftly and thoroughly than it does with ordinary objects. This specialization explains why you can recognize a familiar face from just a fleeting glance or a partial view, even when the context around you is murky. When it comes to danger, your brain reacts faster than your conscious mind can comprehend. If something threatens your safety, your body responds before you fully grasp what is happening. A sudden movement at the corner of your eye, a sharp noise, or an unexpected change in your environment can spark an immediate reaction. This rapid response occurs because the signals from your senses travel through pathways designed for speed, bypassing the slower processes of conscious thought. These pathways activate your muscles, heighten alertness, and prepare your body to respond before your mind has had a chance to interpret the situation. Only after this instinctual reaction does your awareness catch up, allowing you to make sense of what triggered your response. This immediate sensing of danger is an ancient survival mechanism, still relevant in today's world. It empowers you to swiftly move out of harm's way or pause long enough to gather vital information. Perception often operates outside of our conscious thought. It can be swift, instinctive, and protective. Your pupils react not just to light, but also to your emotions. While they adjust to control the amount of light entering your eyes, they also respond to the nuances of your feelings. When you're excited, your pupils may widen slightly, making the world seem a bit brighter. In moments of fear, they can expand as your body prepares for potential action. Curiosity brings about a similar response, signaling that your attention is drawn closer to whatever intrigues you. Even deep affection can soften your gaze, creating an unspoken connection that others may sense without fully understanding. These changes occur because the muscles that control your pupils are connected to your autonomic nervous system. Your emotional states influence not just your breathing and heart rate, but also your posture and pupil size. This response is subtle and continuous. It's often undetectable to you, yet others can sometimes read these signals without realizing it. Though your eyes may not speak, they reveal much more about your inner world than you might think. You can feel vibrations not just on your skin, but deep within your bones. Your body is a resonant structure, adept at carrying vibrations beneath the surface. When sound waves or physical tremors strike your skull or the long bones in your limbs, they travel inward effortlessly. These subtle movements reach your inner ear, where specialized structures transform vibrations into meaningful sensations. This phenomenon explains why your own voice sounds richer to you than it does in recordings. You hear it partly through bone conduction, which adds low tones that others might not perceive. Musical instruments create similar effects. A deep drum beat can resonate within your chest, while a low note from a cello can feel as though it travels along your spine. Even everyday tools, like electric toothbrushes or certain power equipment, produce sensations that seem to vibrate through your entire body rather than simply resting on your skin. Specialized hearing devices intentionally use bone conduction to bypass the eardrum. These experiences reveal that touch extends beyond the surface. Your skeleton serves as a sensitive channel, conveying information inward and expanding the range of sensations your body can experience. Your brain skillfully constructs spatial maps from these incomplete glimpses, enriching your understanding of the world around you. As you navigate through unfamiliar spaces, your mind begins to gather fragments of information. Quick glances, reflected sounds, and distant shapes become tiny puzzle pieces. These pieces are assembled into an internal map, allowing you to grasp your surroundings, even if you can't see the entire environment at once. A doorway glimpsed from the corner of your eye serves as an anchor point, while the quality of light filtering through a window adds another layer of understanding. The echo of footsteps or the softness of carpet enriches this mental picture. Your brain stitches these clues together, creating a layout that helps you walk confidently through the space on a second visit. Remarkably, this mental map remains intact, even in low light or when relying solely on memory. If something shifts, a chair moved, for instance, you notice it right away. Your mind anticipates the environment to align with its internal blueprint. This process illustrates how perception extends beyond mere sight. Your brain is constantly predicting and filling in details, transforming fleeting glimpses into a coherent sense of place. This sense feels complete, even when visual information is scarce. Interestingly, memories can linger for astonishing lengths of time. Among all the senses, smell possesses the most direct and emotionally charged connection to memory. A faint aroma has the power to transport you to a moment you haven't consciously recalled in years. This phenomenon occurs because scent signals travel directly from your nose to the brain regions associated with emotion and long-term memory, bypassing the filtering layers that other senses must go through. Consequently, memories linked to scent retain their vividness and emotional depth. For instance, the scent of sun-warmed wood may evoke memories of childhood summers. A hint of spice might remind you of a meal shared with someone you once knew well. Even fleeting scents can become lasting markers in your mind. Unlike images or sounds, which often lose their sharpness over time, scents can return with surprising clarity, as if they are preserved in a hidden archive. This powerful connection highlights how closely emotion and memory intertwine with sensory experiences, illustrating how a single breath can bridge the present moment with the distant past. Your mind tends to exaggerate contrasts to help define shapes and boundaries. To comprehend these forms, your visual system amplifies the differences between light and dark. This enhancement sharpens edges, making them more distinct than they might seem from the raw signals your eyes perceive. Without this subtle exaggeration, objects would blend together more easily, causing the world to appear flatter and more confusing. As you reflect on these connections, consider how your senses shape your understanding of both the world around you and your own memories. What moments might your senses bring back to life for you? Take a moment to breathe deeply and explore those memories. You have the power to revisit your past through the simple act of inhaling, and your brain continuously fine-tunes contrast, enhancing the differences along the edges of objects so they stand out against their backgrounds. Even if two areas of an image share the same brightness, subtle changes in context can lead one to seem lighter or darker. This is your brain's way of interpreting what you see. It helps you navigate intricate environments, interpret shadows, and notice movement. Artists often take inspiration from this natural enhancement, using it to create depth on flat surfaces. This process unfolds seamlessly every moment you are awake, shaping your perception without you even realizing it. It reveals a fascinating truth. What you see is not an exact replica of reality, but an adapted representation. Flavor, too, is a complex interplay of sound, color, and texture. While taste begins on your tongue, the full experience of flavor is a tapestry woven from multiple senses working in harmony. The crisp crunch of a fresh apple not only signals its freshness, but also enhances its sweetness. Bright colors can make a dish seem richer, while softer hues may suggest a milder taste. Temperature plays a crucial role in how aromas rise, and texture can significantly influence how flavors develop. Even the smallest sounds, like the snap of a biscuit or the fizz of a drink, contribute to your overall impression of taste. As you reflect on these sensory connections, consider how they shape your experiences. Would you like to explore more about how your senses interact, or perhaps take a moment to savor a flavor you love? These signals reach your brain simultaneously, blending into a unified experience. When one aspect changes, the entire flavor can shift, even if the ingredients remain the same. A creamy texture might make something taste sweeter. A deep color can evoke warmth or a sense of richness. Flavor transforms into a tapestry woven from sound, sight, smell, touch, and taste, revealing just how interconnected your senses truly are. Interestingly, humans can sense magnetic influences more subtly than you might expect. Although you don't consciously navigate using magnetic fields like some animals do, research indicates that your brain quietly responds to shifts in magnetic orientation. Inside your skull, microscopic particles rich in iron may subtly interact with the magnetic forces around you. These interactions don't create a clear awareness of direction, but they seem to influence certain brain rhythms. Some experiments suggest that when magnetic conditions change, electrical patterns in your brain shift in ways that indicate your mind has registered the change, even if you haven't consciously noticed it. This sensitivity likely developed long ago in your distant ancestors, who relied more heavily on environmental cues for navigation. Consider how these unseen forces shape your everyday experiences. It's a reminder of the intricate connections that guide you through life. Would you like to explore this fascinating topic further, or perhaps take a moment to reflect on your own sensory experiences? Today, you sense a subtle echo of ancient abilities woven into the fabric of your being, quietly helping you to navigate your environment and maintain your spatial awareness. While you may not consciously perceive magnetic influences, your nervous system responds in gentle and nearly imperceptible ways. As time passes, you might notice that it seems to speed up. In your early childhood, each year feels expansive and filled with novelty. Every new experience is vividly etched in your mind, making each memory rich with discovery. However, as you grow older and life settles into familiar patterns, fewer moments stand out with the same sense of wonder. Your brain begins to store less fresh information, leading to a compression of time when you reflect on the years gone by. A single year in adulthood may hold fewer distinct markers than a single month from your childhood. Your emotional states also shape your perception of time. Stress can stretch days into what feels like an eternity, while years may slip away unnoticed. Joyful moments often glide past effortlessly, whereas quieter times may leave fewer lasting impressions. The way you engage with the world around you influences this subjective flow of time. As novelty fades, memory fills in the gaps, causing the years to seem to rush forward with increasing speed. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. How do you perceive the passage of time? A moment can evoke a sense of familiarity, even if it's entirely new to you. This curious feeling emerges when your brain identifies a pattern in the present that echoes something stored in your memory, even if it can't pinpoint the exact source. Your mind is constantly comparing what you experience with what you remember, seeking connections that help you navigate the world with ease. When a match feels close yet incomplete, you may suddenly experience a wave of familiarity. Sometimes, this sensation arises from overlapping elements like lighting, posture, or tone of voice. Other times, it might stem from a brief glitch in the memory system, causing your brain to treat the present as if it has already been experienced. This leads to a fleeting impression that you've lived this moment before. While it may seem mysterious, it actually highlights your brain's reliance on pattern recognition to interpret experiences. This sense of familiarity signals that something in the present resonates with the vast archive of your memories. You may notice that your perception shifts significantly when you're tired. Fatigue impacts how your senses gather and interpret information. Colors may appear less vibrant, and details can blur as your brain enters a conservation mode. In these moments, it becomes even more important to listen to your body and take a moment for yourself. Whether you choose to continue exploring or to rest, both paths hold value. The world around you may seem a bit more distant or muted as sustaining attention becomes a challenge. Sounds might feel sharper or softer, influenced by your emotional state. You might notice that your sense of rhythm falters, making your movements feel slower or more effortful. Decision-making shifts, relying more on expectation as your mind fills in gaps without processing every detail. Faces may become harder to read, and time can behave erratically, with some moments stretching endlessly while others collapse in an instant. These shifts highlight how much your perception depends on mental energy. When that energy wanes, your brain simplifies your surroundings. This leads to a softer and less precise reality, shaped by both fatigue and your senses. As low light descends, the colors you perceive begin to reshape. You may not consciously notice this transformation, but as daylight fades, your visual experience changes. The cells in your eyes that respond to bright light and vibrant colors start to quiet down. In their place, a different set of cells takes over, functioning better in dim conditions. These cells are adept at detecting motion and distinguishing shapes, yet they struggle to convey the full richness of color. You might find that reds become muted, dissolving into a brownish hue. This subtle shift serves as a reminder of how your perception adapts to the world around you. If you take a moment to reflect on these changes, you may uncover a deeper understanding of your own experience. As the day fades, yellows soften and gently slip into gray. Blues linger, giving twilight its cool, calming tones that feel almost dreamlike. Streetlights and moonlight cast their own unique glow, subtly tinting surfaces with hints of gold and silver, transforming your sense of depth. In this low light, familiar objects take on new personalities, revealing textures and shadows that often go unnoticed during the day. Your mind tries to correct the scene, filling in the expected colors, yet the transformation remains evident. Nighttime offers a reminder that color isn't fixed. It's a delicate dance between light, biology, and memory, shifting softly with the environment. In the darkness, motion appears altered. With reduced visibility, your brain gathers less detailed information about edges and shapes, relying on different cues to interpret movement. Even the simplest actions take on a new quality. A person walking across a dimly lit street may seem to glide, their steps obscured by the shadows. As shadows swell and shrink, they create an illusion of movement, even when nothing has truly changed. At night, your peripheral vision becomes more attuned, detecting motion that feels more dramatic than it would in the clarity of daylight. Consider this transformation as an invitation to explore the beauty of the night. Would you like to continue this journey? Or perhaps take a moment to rest in this tranquil atmosphere? When you step outside at night, you might notice that animals appear larger or faster. The darkness smooths their shapes and exaggerates their movements. Even your own pace feels different, as if the rhythm of your steps has subtly shifted. Your brain compensates for this by relying more on predictions, which can make moving objects seem fluid or almost ghost-like. In the absence of light, motion transforms into a softer, more mysterious experience, shaped by the limitations of your vision as much as by the world around you. Consider how context can change the pitch of a sound you think you hear. Pitch often feels like one of the most stable aspects of sound, yet your brain interprets it through a web of expectations, comparisons, and environmental cues. A single tone in a quiet room seems clear and straightforward. However, if that same tone is surrounded by other sounds, its pitch begins to feel different. Your mind anchors pitch based on what it has just heard, adjusting each new sound to fit into that established pattern. Even visual cues can alter your perception. For instance, when you watch a musician move their hand upward, your brain might interpret this gesture as a rising pitch, even if the sound itself remains steady. In larger spaces, sounds can echo, blurring or stretching their vibrations, making them feel lower or rounder. As you reflect on these sensations, consider how they shape your experience of the world. You might find yourself curious about the ways your senses interact, creating a rich tapestry of perception. Feel free to take a moment to absorb this exploration or continue to delve into the mysteries around you. In a confined space, sound can seem sharper or brighter. This illustrates that pitch isn't just a physical characteristic, it's an interpretation influenced by context, expectations, and surroundings. Your mind blends external vibrations with your internal perceptions. You might notice that your brain can anticipate a touch before it actually happens. It continuously predicts the sensations you are about to encounter, especially when you reach out with your hands or expect someone else to make contact. This prediction is so precise that you can experience a faint sensation of touch just moments before the actual contact occurs. When someone extends their hand toward your arm, your brain gears up for the anticipated sensation, enhancing your awareness in the area where the touch is expected. Your nervous system activates receptors, adjusts your posture, and prepares your muscles, creating a subtle illusion of contact even before anything physically touches your skin. This anticipation enables you to respond swiftly and avoid potential dangers. However, this also highlights how actively your mind shapes your sensory experiences. If touch arrives earlier or later than you expect, it can create a surprising mismatch, making it feel as though the world has shifted out of sync with your anticipations. predicted touch reveals how your perception seamlessly intertwines the present with the future, creating a continuous experience. Your emotional state acts as a subtle filter for your senses, shifting how you interpret the world around you. When you feel joy, colors can appear warmer and more vibrant. In contrast, sadness may soften the palate, making sounds feel heavier and more profound. Anxiety sharpens your focus, causing small details to stand out and unexpected noises to feel amplified. On the other hand, calmness smooths the edges of your experiences, allowing the world to feel more spacious and gentle. Even your senses of taste and smell are influenced by your emotions. Stress can dull flavors, while happiness often enhances the sweetness or brightness of food. These shifts occur because emotion and perception are connected within your brain. When one intensifies, it automatically influences the other. The external world remains unchanged, yet your interpretation of it transforms, reflecting your inner emotional landscape. Your attention naturally gravitates toward potential threats faster than neutral stimuli. When something potentially dangerous enters your environment, your senses alert you almost immediately. You notice a sudden movement at the edge of your vision, an unexpected sound behind you, or a strange shape in the distance. These moments capture your attention before you even have a chance to evaluate them consciously. This immediate response happens because your brain has specialized systems designed to detect danger, relying on minimal information. These systems operate alongside your regular perception, constantly scanning for signs of potential harm. Even when what you notice turns out to be harmless, a shadow or a falling leaf, your focus has already shifted. This instinct evolved to protect early humans in unpredictable environments, and it remains active today, even in the safety of your surroundings. It prioritizes your awareness of potential threats over curiosity or comfort, ensuring that you spot problems before they escalate. Your attention gravitates toward any perceived threat long before rational thought kicks in. Interestingly, moving objects are easier for you to track than stationary ones. While it may seem like still objects are more visible, your visual system is actually more attuned to movement. When something shifts, your brain receives a continuous stream of changing information that highlights its shape, location, and intent. These changes activate motion-sensitive cells, allowing your brain to respond quickly and reliably. Take a moment to reflect on how this instinct shapes your daily experiences. Would you like to continue exploring this fascinating aspect of perception? A still object often fades into the background, especially if it blends into its surroundings. This is why animals freeze to avoid being seen, and why a subtle movement in a field captures your attention instantly. Even minor changes, like the flick of a leaf or the shifting light on water, draw your eye more quickly than static forms. Movement offers your brain vital information about direction, speed, and potential importance, making it a priority in how you perceive the world. Your mind is constantly at work, detecting patterns even before you consciously analyze them. Pattern recognition begins long before it reaches your awareness. Your brain tirelessly identifies structure in the environment. As you observe a collection of objects, you might sense that something stands out, even if you can't pinpoint why. Your mind has already noticed a pattern that feels out of place. When you listen to a melody, you find yourself anticipating the next note because your brain recognizes a structure within the rhythm. These capabilities operate beneath your awareness, guiding your perceptions and decisions before your conscious thought even engages. You might feel drawn to certain arrangements, repelled by others, or intrigued by patterns that suggest something is incomplete. Your deep sensitivity to structure allows you to navigate complex environments with ease. You grasp social cues and interpret events swiftly and accurately. Interestingly, rhythm can be perceived even without distinct beats. In moments of silence, your mind generates a sense of rhythm based on expectations, memories, or subtle environmental hints. Your internal timing systems organize your perceptions into patterns, enabling you to feel a pulse even when no clear sound exists. Musicians harness this ability to maintain steady time, while listeners often find themselves swaying or tapping their feet to the music, continuing the rhythm long after it stops. Everyday experiences illustrate this phenomenon beautifully. The flickering of lights, the swinging of a sign, or the gentle movement of waves can create a rhythmic sensation through mere repetition. Your brain is finely tuned to detect cycles and intervals, grouping sensory input into timed sequences that feel both natural and predictable. This internal pulse plays a crucial role in coordinating your movement, speech, and thoughts, showing that rhythm transcends sound. It is a fundamental principle of perception. Remarkably, you find it easier to understand speech in noisy environments than you might expect. Even amidst crowded spaces filled with overlapping voices and clattering objects, your brain effectively isolates the words directed at you. Your ability to understand speech stems from a blend of prediction, familiarity, and specialized pathways in your brain. As you listen to someone talk, your mind anticipates the structure of their sentences, filling in gaps that background noise might obscure. Visual cues like mouth movements enhance this process, alongside the unique rhythms and tones of voices you recognize. Your brain prioritizes speech, filtering out surrounding noise so that important sounds become more distinct. This filtering is so effective that you might not even notice how much interference exists until you consciously focus on it. This ability to derive meaning from chaos showcases how your mind organizes sensory experiences, highlighting what is significant while softening what isn't. When you find yourself in water, your perception shifts dramatically. Immersion alters nearly every sense you depend on. Sound reaches you in a different way, traveling faster and resonating through both your skin and bones, making it feel fuller and more immediate. Light bends as it penetrates the surface, causing objects to seem closer or larger than they actually are. Colors also transform. Deeper wavelengths fade first, muting reds to browns, while greens and blues become more pronounced. Take a moment to reflect on these sensory changes. How do they reshape your experience of the world? Consider the profound ways in which your surroundings can influence your perception. As you immerse yourself in water, your sense of balance shifts, altering your usual connection with gravity. Movements become slower, yet oddly effortless, creating a sensation of floating that changes your perception of time. Pressure distributes evenly across your body, dulling some sensations while enhancing others, like the gentle currents that glide across your skin. Your awareness of your own size transforms as buoyancy lightens your limbs, making your posture feel different. These changes weave together to form a world that feels both familiar and intriguingly altered. Water demonstrates how adaptable our perceptions can be, reshaping reality with every ripple. When you close your nose, the way you experience taste shifts dramatically. Taste seems to occur solely on your tongue. However, much of what you recognize as flavor actually arises from scent molecules that travel through the back of your throat. With your nose blocked, those aromatic signals fade, leaving only the basic tastes on your tongue. Foods that once felt rich may suddenly taste flat, and subtle distinctions can vanish. Texture becomes more pronounced as your brain searches for cues to compensate for the missing sense. Temperature also takes on greater significance, making warm foods feel softer and cool foods sharper. Imagine a familiar dish, its essence altered without the presence of scent. This transformation reveals just how interconnected our senses are in crafting a complete experience. When the aroma fades, your mind receives only fragments of the whole, compelling it to reinterpret flavors. This serves as a poignant reminder that taste is not merely one isolated sense. Rather, it is a harmonious blend of many, each vital to the richness of the eating experience. Consider distance. Your brain estimates it using a variety of cues, not just sight. While visual perception plays a crucial role in gauging how far away something is, it's not the sole source of information. The size of familiar objects offers significant clues, as does the texture of surfaces and the clarity of details. When things appear blurred or indistinct, your mind interprets them as being farther away. Sound, too, plays a part. Echoes and changes in volume refine your spatial awareness. Even your body's position affects how you perceive distance. A slight tilt of your head or a subtle shift in posture alters the angles through which you view the world. Movement introduces yet another essential cue. As you walk, nearby objects seem to shift more rapidly than those in the distance, providing depth information that your brain continuously processes. Take a moment to reflect on how these senses work together, creating a rich tapestry of experience. You might find it fascinating to explore this interplay further, or perhaps you feel ready to pause and absorb what you've just considered. You find that all these signals work together to shape your understanding of distance. Perception unfolds as a rich tapestry rather than a simple channel. Familiar voices stand out, recognized more swiftly than those you don't know. Your brain pays special attention to voices that resonate with you personally. Just hearing a single syllable from someone familiar can trigger immediate recognition. This quick identification happens because your mind has stored intricate patterns associated with pitch, rhythm, and tone from voices that matter to you. These patterns become deeply embedded through repeated encounters. When you hear an unfamiliar voice, your brain starts from scratch, analyzing various possibilities. Familiarity simplifies this process, allowing you to grasp emotions, intentions, and urgency almost instantly. This recognition remains strong, even when sounds are muffled or mixed with background noise. It speaks to the social nature of human perception, where the voices of trusted individuals carry significant weight. Your brain treats these familiar voices as anchors within a complex auditory landscape, helping you connect with others and navigate conversations with ease. It's interesting to consider how the anticipation of pain can amplify the experience itself. Pain is more than just a reaction to injury. It's influenced by what you anticipate. When you expect something to hurt, your brain heightens sensitivity in that area, preparing your body for potential harm. This preparation amplifies sensations that might otherwise feel mild. Your nervous system becomes more alert, and your muscles may tense up without you even realizing it, adding to your discomfort. Even changes in temperature or pressure can feel more intense when your expectations are heightened. Conversely, if you expect little pain, your brain can soften the sensation by tuning out some of the signals from your body. These dynamics reveal that pain isn't just about physical events, it's a complex experience shaped by interpretation, emotion, and memory. Expectation influences the entire process, highlighting the active role your mind plays in how your body feels. Your brain thrives on recognizing patterns. Each time you identify a pattern, be it in music, conversation, or nature, your brain releases small bursts of satisfaction. This reward encourages you to seek order amidst complexity. By honing your ability to recognize patterns, you learn more quickly, anticipate events better, and navigate social situations with greater ease. When a familiar melody resolves in a song, or when a puzzle finally clicks into place, the clarity you feel is no coincidence. It is your brain celebrating a discovery. This process, known as pattern recognition, not only helps